When a secret mission went horribly wrong, a lone Norwegian commando was forced to flee. Hunted by Nazi patrols, freezing, starving, and slowly losing his body to the cold. This is the true story of his unbelievable 2-month, one-man escape across the frozen Arctic with the entire Nazi war machine on his tail. This is Monochrome Documentaries, where true history is carved in black and white, and the world's overlooked real-life heroes finally take center stage. The story starts in late March 1943, in the icy waters off the coast of Nazi-occupied Norway. 25-year-old Jan Baalsrud, a cartographer turned commando, was part of an operation with 11 other men sent from the Shetland Islands by Britain's Special Operations Executive, SOE. It was a team of 4 SOE-trained commandos, including Baalsrud, and an 8-man crew. Their fishing boat, the Brattholm, was packed with about 100 kilograms of explosives, destined for sabotage. Their mission, codenamed Operation Martin, was to destroy German assets at the Bardufoss airfield and to recruit new resistance fighters in the Tromsø region. Now, Baalsrud was no rookie. After Germany invaded Norway in 1940, he'd fought for his country, escaped to neutral Sweden, where he was convicted of espionage, and then made a winding journey through the Soviet Union, India, Africa, Brazil, and the United States to finally reach Great Britain and join the fight. He was a member of the elite Norwegian company, Lyngen, a unit of exiles trained for covert operations in their homeland. This mission was supposed to be a homecoming, a chance to hit the occupiers where it hurt. But from the very beginning, it was a disaster waiting to happen. The whole plan depended on linking up with a trusted local resistance contact. But in a catastrophic case of mistaken identity, the commandos revealed themselves to a civilian shopkeeper who just so happened to share the same name as their contact. The terrified shopkeeper, suspecting a Gestapo trap, reported the strangers to the authorities. On March 29th, a German patrol boat closed in on the Brattholm. Outgunned and trapped, the commandos made a desperate last stand. They lit the fuse on their explosives to scuttle the ship and deny the enemy its prize. As the Brattholm erupted, they scrambled into a small dinghy, but their escape was cut short. German machine guns opened fire, splintering their tiny boat and throwing them all into the sub-zero water. 11 of the 12 men were either killed in the firefight or captured on the shore, facing torture and execution. Only one man slipped through the net. Soaking wet, missing a boot, and armed with just a pistol, Jan Baalsrud swam to the hostile shore and disappeared into a snow gully. As German soldiers swarmed the area, he fired in self-defense at a German officer, then fled into the wilderness. His official mission was over. A new one had just begun: survival. Baalsrud's escape should have been over before it even started. Hypothermic and exhausted, he stumbled across an island where he was miraculously found by local women who took him in, warmed him, and gave him dry clothes. Their bravery was the first link in a very long chain of civilian courage that would ultimately save his life. But he couldn't stay. Knowing his presence put everyone in danger, he set his sights on neutral Sweden, over 100 kilometers away, across a brutal landscape of mountains, fjords, and glaciers. Sympathetic Norwegians guided him from one hiding spot to the next. A fisherman rowed him to the mainland, giving him a precious pair of skis and some food. For a moment, it seemed like he might just make it. He had a route, basic gear, and the silent backing of his countrymen. But the Arctic doesn't care about plans, and it was about to unleash its full fury. While skiing through the Lyngen Alps, the weather turned. He was caught in a disorienting whiteout blizzard and wandered blindly for days. Then, the ground beneath him gave way. Baalsrud was swallowed by an avalanche and buried up to his neck in snow. When he finally clawed his way out, he discovered his skis were gone and his food was lost. He was alone, snowblind, and without gear in the middle of a vast, frozen mountain range. For 4 days, he stumbled blindly through the snow, his vision completely gone. Starving and delirious, he eventually collapsed near a small farmhouse. He was found emaciated and barely conscious by the family inside, who by a stroke of sheer luck were connected to the resistance. They took him in and nursed him back from the brink of death, but his body was starting to fail. His feet, frozen and thawed over and over, were becoming a source of agony. The worst was still to come. His rescuers moved him to a remote wooden hut he grimly nicknamed the Hotel Savoy. It was here that the true horror of his situation became undeniable. His feet were turning black. Gangrene was setting in. He knew that if the infection spread, he would die a slow, painful death. Faced with an impossible choice, Baalsrud took out his knife. To stop the infection, he performed a desperate operation on himself, removing parts of frostbitten toes. But his ordeal was far from over. German patrols were getting closer, making it too dangerous to stay. His helpers moved him again, this time to a high mountain plateau. They placed him on a stretcher behind a wall of snow built around a large rock, promising to return when it was safe. There, in what was essentially a snow grave, Baalsrud was left for 27 days. Trapped on his back, delirious from starvation and pain, he battled hallucinations and utter despair. During this time, the gangrene in his remaining toes worsened. Alone in the vast, silent wilderness, he knew he had to act again. Over the course of his confinement, he was forced to remove several more toes due to the worsening frostbite to save his life. It was an act of almost unimaginable fortitude, a brutal testament to his will to live. Jan Baalsrud's story is one of the most extreme examples of human endurance ever recorded. It shows a will to survive that most of us can barely comprehend. His survival hinged on his own iron will, but it was only made possible by the incredible bravery of dozens of ordinary Norwegians. By now, he was a legend, a symbol of resistance, and helping him carried an automatic death sentence. Yet, people didn't turn away. When his helpers finally returned, they found him half dead, but alive. What followed was a remarkable relay of courage. He was too weak to even sit up, let alone walk. Villagers from the Mandalen Valley worked together to transport him, carrying him on a homemade stretcher for days across treacherous mountain terrain, sometimes in full view of German positions. They hid him in barns, sheds, and remote mountain caves. At one point, a team of men pulled him on a sled up a perilously steep mountainside. Every person who gave him a piece of bread, offered a hiding place, or took a turn carrying that stretcher was risking not just their own life, but the lives of their entire family. It was a silent, defiant conspiracy of kindness against the brutality of the occupation. The final leg of the journey was a mad dash for the Swedish border. The last group of helpers passed him to two Sami brothers, the indigenous people of the region. They loaded the now skeletal Baalsrud onto a reindeer-drawn sled and began the final push. eventually crossing directly into neutral Sweden. Even then, the danger wasn't over. A German patrol fired on them as they made the final crossing. After 63 days on the run, Jan Baalsrud finally reached safety. He weighed barely 35 kilograms, or 77 pounds. At the Swedish hospital, a doctor asked him who had amputated his toes. The physician was stunned when Baalsrud calmly replied that he had done it himself. It was there he learned the fate of his 11 comrades. They had been interrogated, tortured, and executed by the Gestapo months earlier. Against all odds, Baalsrud recovered. He spent months learning to walk again without his toes. But his war wasn't over. As soon as he was able, he traveled to Scotland to train new resistance fighters, and eventually returned to Norway as an agent, serving until the war ended in 1945. After the war, he became a chairman for the Norwegian Disabled Veterans Union. He always downplayed his own role, insisting that the true heroes were the dozens of unnamed civilians who helped him. Before his death in 1988, he made one final request: to be buried in the churchyard in Mandalen, among the people who had saved his life. On his simple headstone is an inscription that reads, "Thank you to everyone who helped me to freedom in 1943." Today, his legacy endures. Every July, a commemorative 200-kilometer march follows the route of his impossible escape. Jan Baalsrud's story is more than just a tale of survival. It's a profound testament to the power of one man's will and the quiet, extraordinary courage of the many who risked everything to help a stranger. It reminds us that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can prove to be unbreakable. If you find true stories of real-life heroism as compelling as we do, please take a moment to subscribe. Thanks for watching.